if you've ever worked in a high-stakes environment, whether it's clinical, security, maybe even leadership, you know that moment. The moment conflict or just extreme distress walks into the room and suddenly the rule book just vanishes.
Right. Instinct takes over.
Exactly. And instinct is often the very thing that makes it all worse.
It is.
So today, we are opening up some really structured study notes, the kind designed for high-pressure professional assessments. And our goal is to turn those, dense guidelines into immediate, actionable knowledge you can actually use under fire.
And this deep dive, it isn't just about managing emotions. It's really about governance. Because handling highly agitated people is a core professional duty. So we're looking at how these techniques anchor back to, well, fundamental standards, like the professional duties set by the General Medical Council, the GMC.
Right, which are all about safety, trust, clear communication.
And non-judgmental behavior, precisely.
So our mission today is to pull out the core, safety-led, structured behaviors you need to reduce risk and agitation, like right away.
And the central truth, and it's a bit counterintuitive, is that you have to prioritize structure over your gut feeling.
Right. The sources say the high-scoring action is always safety first, listen openly, and then document everything, absolutely everything.
And what's so crucial for you to get here is that the scoring logic in these professional scenarios, it's not testing how naturally empathetic you are.
Okay.
It's testing your commitment to a structured procedure. If your action protects safety, if it shows you're following protocol, and it ensures clear accountability, then you're succeeding professionally, even if the person is still upset.
Okay, so let's unpack the initial mindset. You walk into a potentially volatile room. What's the immediate internal monologue?
The sources sum it up so well. It's safety first.
Right.
Slow the room, show you're listening, offer fair choices, set clear limits, and escalate early if risk rises.
And then the follow-up.
Then you document an incident report.
That phrase is kind of the whole blueprint then.
It is. I mean, we define de-escalation not as avoiding a problem, but as the deliberate professional use of, say, non-threatening posture, a calm tone, empathic listening.
And limits.
And critically, setting fair limits. It's all geared towards restoring a safe environment for absolutely everyone. And this structure, it has to complement your organization's safety policies. It never overrides them.
So before we even say a word, we've got to focus on those core safety principles, the nonverbal stuff.
Exactly. And number one is just non-negotiable.
Safety first.
Safety first. It requires constant active risk scanning. You have to maintain physical distance. The sources suggest about 2 arms lengths.
Okay, that's a good benchmark.
And you must ensure your exit route is always clear.
And you shouldn't be alone.
The single biggest thing you can do to protect yourself professionally and physically is to get a colleague, a chaperone, backup, whatever you call it. Get them in early. High-stakes situations should almost never be managed solo.
So we have our exit routes, we've got backup. What about our own nonverbal communication? How does our physical presence immediately, reduce the heat?
It all comes down to nonverbal control. So a relaxed stance, maybe angled slightly, never squared off like you're about to fight. Keep your hands visible at all times. It signals you're not about to attack or restrain them.
Right.
And if you have to move, use a steady, non-threatening pace. The professional trap here is to mimic the other person, so you avoid crossing your arms tightly, pointing or cornering them. That just pours fuel on the fire.
That makes so much sense. So how does the brain, the primal part of the brain, interpret that? A relaxed stance versus a closed, trapped position?
A closed or trapped position is instantly seen as a threat. It's a fight or flight signal.
Right.
But a visible, relaxed, open posture communicates competence and a lack of threat. It lowers that immediate adrenaline spike, and it makes the person just a little bit more receptive to rational thought. You're buying yourself crucial seconds of control.
Okay, let's move from mindset to immediate action. The situation starts to escalate. What are the high-yield, make-safe steps? Physically, what's the first thing you do?
Well, the physical first steps are all about minimizing stimuli and maximizing your control of the environment. First, you make sure your own safe position is secure, and you confirm your colleague is there to observe or help.
Okay.
Second, try to reduce noise, distractions, the audience. Too many people watching can really escalate things for someone who's already stressed.
And then you can offer something.
Yes, if it's appropriate, you can offer basic, tangible comforts, a seat, A glass of water? These are small gestures, but they are grounding.
And while you're doing all that, you have to be scanning constantly for threat levels.
Yes.
For the red flags.
Yes.
So when do you pivot from trying to talk to just focusing purely on safety and getting out?
Red flags are those markers of imminent danger. You're looking for clear threats or cues of violence, clenched fists, someone blocking the exit, any mention of a weapon. Or watch for a dramatic increase in volume or them getting closer, especially if they ignore you asking for space and step right into your personal bubble.
And then there are the vulnerability factors.
Yes. We also have to consider significant vulnerability factors because these just drastically increase unpredictability and risk. Our sources specifically call out 3.
Which are?
Intoxication, delirium, and overt psychosis.
Hang on, I want to probe that a bit. Managing someone who's intoxicated feels completely different from someone who's delirious. So how do the sources say we should tailor our communication for each of those?
That's an excellent point. And while the safety steps, distance, backup, they stay the same, the communication has to shift dramatically.
Okay.
For someone who is highly intoxicated, you must use extremely simple, concrete language. Avoid open-ended questions. Stick to closed questions. You're just focusing on the immediate path forward.
And for delirium?
With delirium, the person is often confused, their state is fluctuating, so safety and reorientation are key. You need a calm, very consistent presence. You'll probably have to repeat information.
And psychosis?
With active psychosis, their reality is distorted, so you have to validate their feeling, but not their delusion.
Ah, that's a key distinction.
The crucial one. You focus on safety and linking them to specialized care.
And here's where it gets really interesting, and this is the core logic I think you have to internalize. If any of those red flags pop up, the sources are clear. Your safety and other safety come first. Move, call help, then talk.
That is the professional mandate. If a physical threat exists, your professional action is not to keep talking in a risky place.
Or when you're alone.
Or alone, yes. It is to prioritize moving to safety, call for help or security, and then structure your response from a position of control. This disciplined approach, it prevents staff injury. It stops you from freezing or trying some heroic solo intervention that's just going to fail.
So we've established physical safety, we have backup, we've got the person grounded, maybe sitting down.
Yeah.
Now we have to actually talk.
Mm-hmm.
How do we structure that conversation so it's productive and keeps those boundaries?
We have to rely on structure because our instinct will tell us to argue or to retreat. Structure gives you a safe path forward, and the high-yield structure in the sources is the calmer framework.
Calmer.
It gives you 6 clear steps to navigate that emotional landscape.
Okay, let's walk through those 6 steps slowly.
Right. So the steps are, first, C for calm stance, which we've already done.
Right.
Then A for acknowledge the feeling. Then L is for letting them vent without interruption.
Okay.
Then M is for map the issue, clarifying what the real problem is. E is for explain limits, so setting those neutral boundaries.
Then finally R.
And R is for resolve with choices, offering realistic, practical options to move forward.
Okay, that second step, acknowledge the feeling. That seems a bit risky. Isn't there a danger that by acknowledging their feeling, you're accidentally validating a complaint that might be totally unfair?
And that is the critical professional nuance. You are acknowledging the feeling, the frustration, the anger, the fear. You are not necessarily validating the facts of their argument.
I see.
So if someone is shouting about a 10-hour wait, you don't say, "You're right, we are slow." You say something like, "I can see how incredibly frustrating this delay has been for you." You validate the emotion, which is universal, but you keep your distance from the disputed facts.
And then we move to listen, validate, summarize. That sounds like the ultimate depressurizing tool.
It's the core mechanism for reducing that immediate arousal. You have to genuinely let them vent without interrupting, which, takes real discipline. Once that pressure valve is released, you reflect the feeling back. That validation, I understand this is upsetting, that immediately reduces arousal because they feel heard. And then finally, you check your understanding by summarizing what you think they believe the problem is. And that moves the conversation from raw emotion towards problem solving.
Okay, so what are the key language tools we should be using during this whole calmer sequence?
Focus on simplicity, control, and neutrality. Use I statements. It helps you own your perspective and reduces defensiveness.
So instead of, you need to calm down.
Exactly. You say, I need to understand what happened. Use short, direct sentences. And crucially, keep your voice low, slow, and neutral. If your volume or your pace starts to climb, you are signaling escalation. And you must strictly avoid jargon, defensive language, or blaming. All of that just fuels the fire.
Which brings us to what feels like the hardest part, setting professional boundaries. The E in calmer. How do we draw that line when someone is really distressed without making it all more confrontational?
The professional technique is to separate the person from the behavior. You are not criticizing them as a person.
Right.
You are simply stating limits on what is professionally and physically acceptable in that space. And you have to state these limits neutrally, without emotion.
Can you give an example of that?
Sure. You use phrases that express sort of conditional cooperation. So rather than stop shouting right now, you could try, I want to help you and I can continue this conversation if we can both speak calmly.
I see.
Or, I need you to keep a safe distance between us so we can continue talking safely. You're providing the condition for your help to continue.
So it's not a threat, it's a precondition.
Exactly. And once that limit is set, we move to the final step, resolve with choices.
Why is offering choices so important here?
Well, a loss of control is often a central trigger for agitation. By offering choices, you restore a practical sense of autonomy to the person, but without compromising safety or professional standards.
And the choices have to be real.
They have to be realistic, practical, and time-bound. You control the boundaries and the safety, but they get to select the path forward.
Okay, give me a high-quality example.
So instead of saying, wait here until I'm ready, you could say, I can offer you two immediate options. Option A is a senior review of your notes in 15 minutes. Or option B, I can find a quieter private room right now for us to continue this conversation. Which of those works best for you?
Right. You've given two controlled professional options and you let them pick.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the common pitfalls. The professional trap answers that guarantee low marks because they violate professional conduct or safety.
And the traps are almost always those instinctual responses that break the structure. So number one, never match their volume or try to argue about who's right in the heat of the moment. It's not a debate.
No.
Number two, never make promises you can't keep. False reassurance just leads to a bigger escalation later when that promise fails. Like promising an immediate CT scan just to quiet them down.
That's a huge one. What about the safety and confidentiality traps?
Well, you never continue the conversation in an unsafe space, and you never, ever stay alone if you feel threatened. And a key governance trap. Never overshare confidential details about another patient or a colleague in public to try and pacify someone.
Right.
Breaching confidentiality, even under pressure, is a serious professional violation.
So the golden rule is pretty clear.
Yeah.
Disciplined, calm structure with limits and realistic choices. It consistently beats trying to appease someone or avoiding them or matching their threats.
Okay, but let's talk about the reality that sometimes de-escalation fails. What happens when limits are just breached over and over or the risk stays high? When is the right professional moment to stop the consultation and call for help?
This is the defined process of proportionate escalation. If your structured limits and choices aren't working and the risk is still there, you have to move through a clear series of steps.
Which are?
You call a timeout or pause the interaction. Then you might request a senior review or get a more experienced colleague. And if the risk of harm or violence is immediate, you involve security or the police. And when do you officially terminate the consultation?
You terminate it when the person's behavior makes it impossible for you to maintain a safe, professional environment.
Oh.
And when you terminate, you have to clearly summarize your actions, state the alternative like, I need to pause this and return with security in 10 minutes, involve senior staff immediately, and then, most critically, document everything that led to that point.
Right. Documentation. This isn't just about covering yourself. It's fundamental institutional accountability. The notes have to be defensible, so what exactly needs to be in them?
Documentation is essential. It's for professional accountability and for learning. Your notes must be contemporaneous and factual, and you do not record judgmental labels.
So you don't write, the patient was aggressive.
You do not. You write, patient raised their voice, clenched their fists, and stated they would not leave the room. You record the behavior you observed, not your emotional inference.
That distinction is so important. What other factual details need to be in there?
You must note all the risks you identified mention of alcohol, any threats, every structured action you took, like offered 2 options as per calmer framework. You note who was present as a witness, and if threats were made, the exact words used.
And then you finish with the plan.
Always. Conclude with the plan moving forward and confirm the reporting route you took.
And that final question that always gets debated, do we report verbal abuse Or near misses that didn't end in physical harm.
Yes, always. The professional standards are absolute on this. Ignoring abuse is a low-scoring action that fails your duty to protect staff and improve safety for everyone. You must follow your local incident reporting system. It's standard procedure. Reporting allows for debriefing and for system change.
So what does this whole deep dive mean for you, the listener, taking us forward into your practice? We've established that structure is your professional defense against chaos. Let's distill the 3 key takeaways from these sources.
First one, before you even start communicating, professional safety begins with your positioning, maintaining distance, and getting early backup. That's your foundational step 1.
Okay. Second, the communication formula that consistently depressurizes these situations is acknowledge the feeling, then set clear neutral limits, then offer realistic choices.
And third, make sure every single interaction ends safely, and that you document, factually record behavior, not judgment, and you complete an organizational incident report every single time. Accountability is non-negotiable.
So the final thought here, maybe the provocative one, is that the most critical difference between a high-scoring action and a low-scoring one, it's not whether there's conflict. It's the disciplined, professional commitment to structure, like using the calmer steps, even when your gut is screaming at you to argue or run.
That's it.
Managing conflict safely and professionally is your duty. Avoiding it isn't.
Adhering to professional commitments when you're under pressure, that is the test. And the structure, it gives you the language and the process to pass that test every single time.
That's a wrap on the deep dive. We hope this gave you the structured approach you need to navigate the toughest professional scenarios safely and accountably.